Welcome back to the Law Unscripted. We talk here about all the things about the law and the legal system that you never knew.
Never understood.
And no one ever told you. I'm Virginia Tarani.
And I'm Chelsey Rogers.
And we're part of Tarani Law LLC because you never need a lawyer.
Till you do.
All right, everybody. Our topic for today is best and worst decisions that Chelsey made during law school.
And boy, are there a lot of those.
So it's story time again.
Yes.
What we love to do here is talk about things that are mysterious, like people don't know about, is like, what is it really like to, have a self-defense claim? We've hit on civil versus criminal law, the juries, the mystery of what is a jury and what do they do. So we've hit on a lot of things. And as we're winding down season 1, we are trying to talk about law school and the realities of law school, as well as, working as an attorney during these last times. And these last 2 episodes, we are at our final episodes for season 1.
Just mind-blowing.
Have no fear, season 1. And we thought the last 2 episodes were like, it's season 20. Episode 21 is our last, but
it's 22.
22. This is 21.
Yes,
and we have one more.
Yeah.
So May 9th is going to be our final episode of season 1, and it's going to be 22 episodes long.
Wow. I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too. This has been exciting. It's been so much fun.
Yeah.
Because I think just telling real life in a conversational, real world experience way has been really nice.
Yeah, I think it opens up a world. I think just a law and legal system and law school is like shrouded, like you said, in this like mystery. So I like to think we can break it open a little bit and share a little bit of what's actually going on.
Yeah, I do too. So we're gonna do this story today. Next week, our final week, we're gonna hit on what I thought my best and worst decisions were for a law student as an attorney, looking back 17 years later. So I think this is gonna be a fun little double series.
I think it's good. I think it'll be interesting too, because obviously I'm just wrapping up now. So, obviously in 17 more years when we're still doing this, that I'll be able to go back to this episode and see if my look back is still the same.
Right. Do you still think that those are the same best experiences or worst decisions are the same?
Yeah.
So in the middle of the season 2 will pick back up in the fall.
Yes.
In the middle, we are doing bar preparation.
Super casual, like nothing huge.
Yeah, just that. So Chelsey graduates in May. Yay, Chelsey.
Yay.
End of your law school career. We're following Chelsey. Follow along with us. If you like our Law Unscripted, if you like us, follow along with Chelsey. Cheer her on. Give her lots of love this summer. You can still find us on TikTok, Instagram, all of the normal places. We have those links in the description below so that you can follow her journey. We're going to follow you and go through your graduation. We're going to go through all your bar prep and the bar with you.
Yeah, it's going to be excited. So I've decided we're going to use Quimby. And so there will be an affiliate link in the description below. If you are still looking for a bar prep program, I'm really excited about their study setup and what they offer. So if you want to join us, and we will be sort of reviewing that with ours. But if you need a little something extra, a little study help, we will have our supplemental programs.
Yes.
And then you can do that sort of a la carte or package or bundles. There's a lot of great options, and I think it's very valuable. See, the thing is a couple of years ago, I was looking into the future. I said, I'm going to need specialized bar help. And I just convinced Virginia to do this so I could reap the benefits, obviously.
It really is a company that we started just for Chelsey. But hopefully you too can benefit if you're a law student listening in. And this should be, we're hoping it's more than just 2023. So this is like you're on the ground with us if it's 2023. But even after 2023, please listen to our stuff. And I think it's just as relevant, just as helpful to the bar. And I think it will be fun for you to watch a law student like yourselves going through the bar. So do check out the affiliate link for Quimby. If you go through that link and want to purchase their bar prep program, you will get a discount through that link. You can also follow us. We'll have the Law Unscripted website, www.thelawunscripted.com. will be fully functional in May. So that will be functional. You'll be able to see the free resources, as well as, if you're a law student, be able, like you said, to purchase even things a la carte. And I think that's the best option. Is there's no other program out there that offers a la carte. You have to buy the entire program. We're not the entire program. Please buy your own. We recommend Quimby, but I went through Barbary.
Yeah.
There are other companies out there, but this is like, if you just need help with torts, buy torts.
Yeah.
If you just need help with property, which was both of our struggles,
Yeah.
buy property. So this way you can get a little piece of something that you need without buying a whole entire other bar program.
Absolutely.
But that's what we're going to do. That's what you can look forward to as to where we're headed.
Yeah.
But I really want to know today, do you want to start with your best or your worst decisions?
Okay, so I've been like brainstorming. We can start with my worst.
Okay, so Chelsey, I want you to tell all of our listeners, law students or not,
yes,
what you feel like your best decisions in law school were.
So my best decisions, I think there's a couple. We can tell a couple stories.
Said worst.
I said worst, but it was okay.
God, no, I'm thinking it's okay. No, we're going to go back to worst.
Okay.
So hold that thought. Tell us what your worst decisions were. And you can't have like 10, okay?
No.
Let's do a few.
I like narrowed it down. I think my number one, because I was really good about this in undergrad and lost it when I went to law school, was going to office hours and like developing personal relationships with instructors. Like I had that in undergrad. I was really good about doing that. Like I knew my professors really well. However, I just didn't do that in law school. After my first year, when I was kind of in person more, I did, and I started going to those meetings. But
yeah, but you had COVID for your first year. Like, how are you going to do it?
I felt really uncomfortable joining a Zoom office hours, which was it was a block in my own head, and I know that, and I know it was dumb, but it just made me where I went to office hours once my entire 1L year.
Wow.
Because it felt so uncomfortable, because I just wanted to go in. A lot of the times I didn't have a specific question. And our professors were really nice, but when it was in a Zoom environment, it wasn't like you're staying after class and like kind of having these things. It was like, okay, you're in here. What do you need? Like it was a very different dynamic. And I wish I wouldn't have done that. I think if I had just kind of gotten over it, I would have done a little bit better my 1L year. But you win some, you lose some. So that's my like number one. And it's because I was so good about it in undergrad. Like I knew all of my professors really well.
Yeah.
Like I'd read their research. And so
did you think that actually helped you then in undergrad?
Absolutely. I think it really did. Especially my upper levels when you're sort of taking more specialized classes, a lot of the time with the same professors. When you get to then know them, it definitely helped for recommendation letters to go to law school. Like it was not difficult for me to have, I think I had like 6 or 7 different people write them and then kind of use them for different schools. And I had those relationships. They really were with all of these different people. And just for law school, I didn't really do that. So for me, I was like, that was probably not a great choice on my part. So that's the big one. I think I also... I don't recommend this.
I'm waiting for it. Like, if you guys can see Chelsea's face and her whole facial expression is just over 20 seconds.
Yes.
I'm anticipating with you.
I never outlined, not once.
What?
I've never made an outline. Confession.
3 years of law school.
I've never outlined. Which is like, okay, outlining is the thing in law school, right? I've never outlined. Okay,
like you've never outlined like a case?
I've done like a case brief, right? But like an outline, like for the class, getting ready for the final.
A subject matter outline.
Yeah, that everybody does sort of like for the final. I've never made an outline. Your face right now.
I mean, I guess it's been okay because you've turned out fine.
Yes, I think what I realized, and maybe this is, depending on who you are, I guess best or worst. Outlining, I tried to do it, and it was not helpful. I was not learning anything, and I was spending time messing with the formatting. And
right.
So what I realized, especially for 1L classes, a lot of schools have outline banks. And so I would get one of those, and I would edit it and have it with me, just sort of in like what things changed. But I wasn't going to reinvent the wheel. I was not going to do it.
But that honestly sounds smart.
Maybe it
because
was.
You knew you and you still used outlines.
I used outlines, and I think it helped. But outlining for me was just not going to happen. I barely take notes. Like, it's very difficult.
I honestly, you're so smart. You're so smart. You're very gifted and talented. I do not know how you got through school.
I did not have to
Because
study
notes.
until I got to law school. That's the truth. And so note taking is very difficult for me because I've never had to do it.
Like all I do is note taking, and everything, my whole life, as you guys might have seen by now in this or the Legal Weekly Wine, which is still going. I notes everything.
I'm so impressed by it because you've seen when I try to take down notes, I write like 4 sporadic words.
Yeah, she was so good this summer. I guess last summer, I had you do notes on a deposition.
Yes, I was trying so hard.
She never takes notes. And I was like, okay, I have this deposition. I cannot focus on taking
you had the
notes.
brace on your wrist.
I couldn't, yes.
You like physically couldn't take the note is what it was.
Because I just had surgery again on my arm. And part of the reason I wear this long sleeve under the shirt is I have such bad scarring on my arm. But I just had arm surgery again. And literally I was in a full cast on my arm. I could hardly move my hand. And I wasn't going to be able to do it. So it's like, Chelsey, you have to come in and take notes on this deposition. I'll ask the questions. You don't have to do anything with the witness, nothing with the other attorney. I just need notes. And you got it out there.
Look, that was the most notes I've ever taken in my life. Like I felt like it was so excessive. Like I was like, so extra.
But I needed it so badly, and you really stepped up.
I tried, but it took truly. And we've had this conversation. I remember a lot of conversations. There are a couple of clients that I was just sitting there. I could tell you what happened. I could not tell you a single fact of that deposition. Nothing is in my brain. It was all on that paper. But like my ability, and maybe it's the ADHD, to like process information and write it down at the same time. I gotta pick one.
But you still learn, and you still retain. So for me, I have to have the notes. Like that is the way that I learn, and the way that I repeat and do things. But for you, at least you're still learning. Yeah. And I mean, it shows that you don't have to be my type of law student or yours, but that's really fascinating.
I think for the vast majority of people, not outlining though would be a mistake.
It would have been for me. I would have failed.
Yeah.
I would have absolutely failed everything.
Yeah. Somehow it just worked for me. This is not like best practices, obviously. And I think most people probably should make their own outline just because you learn different than other people. But for me, it was easier to start with something someone had created already and just tweak it for my uses. But I will say the best thing was learning how to study for an exam for me. Instead of outlining, I pre-wrote, which I didn't know that's what it was called, but this is what I would do. So especially with your 1L like doctrinal classes, there are certain things that are going to be on the test. Like if you take a Civ Pro,
they're going to be there. Yeah.
If you're taking a Civ Pro exam, you're going to have a jurisdiction question, right? So what I did was pre-write, like I was taking an exam. I don't have the question, but like, what is the first paragraph of like an introductory paragraph about the topic of jurisdiction? Like, what would I say? Doing that changed the game for me on my finals because I think this is common. It would be intimidating. You open up the final and you're just like, where do I even start? Even if you do recognize the issues, like it just feels hard to start. So having 3 or 4 sentences that I knew I would, no matter what the facts were, that I would start there really helped for me. Same with like the negligence, like write down a paragraph about negligence, change the game for how I studied for exams. And again, because of COVID, were open book, I didn't even have to retype it or memorize it. I just had part of my answer ready to go.
Right.
But for me, it helped me learn it. It wasn't even if I couldn't have taken that into the exam, I still would have done it because it like helped me process things instead of like outlining or taking notes. The crazy part is like I didn't take notes, but I could probably tell you every case we read in torts and like what happened. Like it's just up there.
That's really impressive because I struggle with the case memory.
Yeah.
I do really well with concept memory and concept application. But when it comes to actual case facts and case names, I'm like,
the names.
There's a case about it, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you what that case name is.
Not
and frankly, it doesn't have to be in that essay, so I'm not going to have to remember it.
Right. No, case names were not the thing, but what I would do anytime I wrote a concept, I'd be like, the case where the kid pulled on the dog's ears, in parentheses, like the case where the toddler pulled out the chair from under his aunt, parentheses, like these torts cases that are like.
And that's funny.
Because like in my brain, that's what they were. So I think that works. I think that was really helpful. Especially even like the con law stuff, like stuff you know that they're going to talk about the scrutiny level. So why not just write it so you don't get that moment where you freeze?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, okay, this is a hot take too. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
My other best decision was I quit journal. I was on a journal and I was on that journal for like maybe 3 weeks and was like, absolutely not. And turned in my resignation, which is, I feel like it's a law school hot take. Everybody's talking about journal. And maybe if you like want to go into big law, that's relevant. I had no interest in going into big law and was miserable. I was miserable.
Yeah. And so for those of you who don't know, who are looking into law school or who didn't go to law school, they have law school journals. Yes. And it's basically, I hate to say magazine because it's not a magazine.
I think it's the best way to describe it. It's like a magazine with articles in it.
Yeah.
And no
educational magazine with super scholarly articles that are written.
Yeah.
And they're published by all law schools. Every single law school has at least one journal.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are more. So like when I went to William and Mary, there were 4.
Yeah.
There was the William and Mary Law Review, which is the law review.
Yes,
I mean, it's,
law review is always going to be at the top of the rankings.
Right. So those are usually the top. The American Law Review, the whichever law review, those are usually, at least in the law school field, considered the top, most professional, most scholarly, most whatever, the most.
Yes.
Then there are others. So like at William and Mary, there was women's law.
Yeah.
There was the environmental law one. There was a 4th, I can't remember. And they may still be the same. It's been years. How many were at your law school?
I think there's 6. That's what I was trying to count in my head. Because we have like law review. We had administrative, gender, and like something policy. Business law review, that's the one I was on. There's like a humanitarian. So yeah, there's like, I think 6.
Yeah.
And there's, for people who don't know, write on versus grade on. I knew I was not going to grade on. Yeah. Which is where you don't have to complete any of the tasks. You just have really good grades at the end of your first year. And so you're offered a position. Most everybody does write on though, where you get this like.
I did too.
Did you do the write on? Okay. So you get this like packet of information. It's like closed universe, meaning you can only use that. And then you write essentially an essay, or a brief. I don't know what the best explanation is.
Like a fake article.
Yeah, I mean, a fake article.
You're writing to show that your type of writing would be good enough that particular journal would publish it.
Yes. So in ours, and I should have mentioned this before, our write-on was so weird because we didn't have COVID or it was during COVID, so we didn't have spring break, which is normally when you have it. So instead, it was like, I think it was like 5 to 10 pages, which is short.
Yeah.
And we had a month and a half to do it because it was during classes instead of having, because they took spring break out of our schedule. And so there wasn't instead of having a 1 week of concentrated time, they were like, you can have a month and a half, but you're in all of your classes as well.
Wow. We did ours. Our write-on was the week after exams.
Interesting.
So you stayed, and it had to be in person. So you stayed at law school for an extra week. And from the date of the last exams for 1 week, you had 7 days to finish it and turn it in.
See? Okay. And I feel like that's sort of the traditional thing.
Yeah.
That's wild. And ours was between the semesters, though. So it was not at the end of your first year. It was spring.
Yeah.
Weird.
But so why in particular are you glad that you dropped out of the journal?
I think for me, the reason that I was even interested in doing write-on and being on a journal was it felt like that was something I was supposed to do. Because that's what, there is a lot of prestige, prestige in law school is a huge thing, a huge motivating factor for why people choose certain law schools, what they do in law school. And journal has a certain level of prestige to it.
Yeah.
But I think I realized that, again, this is the middle of my first year. And so I participated and then I quit. I think I realized that my law school path was going to be a little bit more non-traditional. And I personally didn't see myself being in a career that valued, like that cared if somebody was on journal or not. Like I wanted to be in a courtroom. None of those places particularly care, you know, if you're looking at prosecution or defense, like public interest, care if you are on journal. Not a single one. And I think at this time I was also starting to do like first rounds of interviews places. And it was like starting that in the back of my head that nobody has asked about this. Nobody that I'm like talking to in these things care at all. That, and it got time for me to write my comment. And they were having these meetings that to me felt very like I was getting in trouble. Here's the truth. I was getting in trouble not because I was not turning things in. You would have like an assignment that was emailed out and then you would have to turn it in with like 72 hours. Okay. However, you were supposed to notify them that you received the email within 8 hours of it being sent. And I would turn things in at this, I would turn my assignment in, but I'm not notifying an adult that I received an email. I'm not doing it. So I got all
Chelsey
these demerits.
Doesn't like to follow the rules.
Okay, I will follow the rules if they make sense. That was dumb. Put red receipts on your email and leave me alone. So I had all these demerits, and I told them that I thought it was stupid. And then I was like, I'm actually going to quit. I'm not doing this.
That's good stuff.
But I will say, in my sort of study group and group of friends, multiple people have been like, I should have quit journal when you did. Mm-hmm. Because now they're essentially in their last year of law school doing like 35 to 40 hours of free labor and being super stressed out about it. And I'm not.
Yeah. And so the law reviews, once you're on a journal, it's not just writing an article for a journal. It's actually reviewing other people's articles that are coming in because the law school journals publish articles from other professors, from attorneys, from other, as long as it's scholarly work. And it's a good scholarly work and it's chosen for the journal. But then the members of the journal have to edit it and review it.
Baby.
Check it for citations. Check all of the citations. So you are opting into something where you're not just writing an article. You are involved in the publication of the journal.
And it's a very tedious sort of things, like you said. I know my strengths and my weaknesses. Guess what? Checking somebody's footnotes is not a strength of mine. Like, truly, it is. Like, I can't even say, like, and so I will say, I'm not on a journal. I am on a brief. So that, like, criminal law brief. They don't, they haven't been around enough to, like, establish themselves as a journal. So it's, like, journal light, but we do still have to do spading. And I want to tear my eyelashes out. Going to the Blue Book, checking somebody's footnotes, can't do it. It's truly torturous. So for me, that's a hot take. Lots of people will tell you I feel like the sage advice coming in is like, get on law review, get on mock trial. Like that's the advice. And I am happy with my choice. Even right now, I think it was the right choice for me. I think more people than think it is probably shouldn't waste their time on journal. Yeah. Because when you kind of look at the cost benefit analysis, right? There's a certain fields that's important, but those fields are also not going to value all 6 of those journals on your campus equally. They're just not. So unless you're like editor of the law review, are you really getting your benefit? I would say no.
Yeah.
Which is such a hot take.
No, but it's a fair take. And I think it's a realistic take that a lot of people should hear. Yeah. Is for some people, it really is a good choice. Yeah. But for others, you don't have to.
No, you don't.
You are going to be just fine. And you're going to find your way. You're going to find a job. You're going to find everything you need when you don't have to. Yeah. Some people do. It's a choice that they make, but it's not the only choice out there.
Yeah. And I think on that line, this will be my last thing that I think another hot take. I've taken a lot of random classes. I have taken a lot of random law school classes. And now we're going to check in on this opinion after the bar. However, at this point, I have found it very valuable. I have taken civil rights classes, like federal, like Section 1983. I took hotel law one summer.
Which was really random.
Right. Super random.
Fascinating, but random.
Right. I was in that clinic that was transactional law randomly, even though I had taken all these trial ad classes. I think anything that sparked my interest, I gave Virginia a heart attack because every time I'd be registering for classes, like the list of classes.
Okay. Are there any related to the bar exam? Any subjects here that would be on the bar exam? Can we have one? Just one.
And I was like, yeah, I'm actually going to take just another evidence class, actually. But no, I've taken wrongful convictions, just a kind of a wide array of things, which again, check in with someone who knows you well, check in with what you want your career to be. But I think it has served me well. I think I have, again, the hotel law, I keep bringing it up because that was the most random. It was it was technically 4 separate classes, all relating to like hotels over the summer.
Industry.
The hotel industry. So they talked about everything from like liability insurance. We talked about employment issues. But it was that class to me, and it was 4 separate classes in a program over the summer, was so fascinating because they brought in practitioners who practiced in these areas that are kind of non-traditional. But to me, it gave like a broader scope of the law, because as someone who came into law school and is leaving law school wanting to do the same thing, I want to be in court, particularly criminal law. Like that's what I think of. I think about being in court. And this was just another side of things that was great to be exposed to that wasn't what I think of, bear with me, boring law. Like I understand people do doc review, but this is transactional, but like fun. And I think it gave me, I feel like I say it all the time, it'll like connect to something else. And I'm like, oh, I do know like a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So Virginia's going to come in. I highly encourage everybody to take some fun classes, some interesting classes.
I agree with that, actually. I do.
Okay. We'll see how I feel after the bar exam. I'm going to be like, only take
if she fails.
Yes. I'll be like, only take bar. And I tried to take family law, but unfortunately my professor got sick. And so it ended up being like a pass-fail situation and was not, that was supposed to be my bar class.
Yeah, it is one of the bar subjects.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's most often reviewed, or one of the most often in essays on tests for students.
But I think, so those are my like law school I feel like hot takes, I wish that maybe someone told me these going in. I don't know. I think I probably would have done just what I do. Yeah. Which is kind of, try everything. I will say this is another thing I did. This was crazy behavior, but I loved it my first year. So there's moot court, there's mock trial, there's the transactional law competitions.
And the law review write-ons.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So my first year, and there was one more. So I think there were 2 transactional things, like clubs. There was mock trial and moot court. And I was interested in all of it. So at my school, I'm not sure if this is the same everywhere, that there's all these teams. And they do like a mini version of their things and this is not like to get on. This is like before you try to get on, like audition or whatever. That's not the word, but.
Well, you have to try out for the teams.
Yes.
So there's the school teams that you try out for. In my year, it was like the second year you actually tried out for the teams. Yes. In the first year you did mini competitions internally.
Okay,
just
perfect.
to see how you did.
So that I didn't know if that was super common, but that's what they were. There were 4 of them, and they were just with the 1Ls, and it was just to kind of like practice essentially before your tryouts. I did all of them. Which was nuts because you have to prep for these things, right? Like you have to learn the facts for mock trial. You have to give an opening, a direct, a cross, a closing. Moot court, you have to like you're assigned a position and you have to argue this like appellate level.
Appellate arguments.
And so you're like, in ours, I'll never forget, it was like a constitutional confrontation clause thing, which was crim law, but I hadn't taken it yet. And they did that on purpose. So I didn't even fundamentally like understand what I was arguing. And you have to read like 30 cases and like use this in your arguments. The transactional, I don't know how I ended up there, but I did. I actually placed in that one. Did I tell you this?
Wow. No, I don't remember. I remember moot court.
Yes. So moot court, because I somehow won the 1L moot court competition. I'm like really proud of it. It was super. I had a great time.
That's fantastic.
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I surprisingly...
You're good at presentations.
And then that's, I feel engaged with. I surprisingly enjoyed moot court more than mock trial.
Oh, wow.
I liked the arguing about the point, like the back and forth sort of with, like a trial is how a trial is, but kind of moot court, I liked the like back and forth with the panel of judges, which were also just law students, and they were probably, a little bit more feisty than might, really be. But the transactional one was like negotiating a contract with these crazy facts, which was super fun. But I did all of them. I tried all of them. My friends thought I was insane because this is our second semester. Like things are heating up. You're doing interviews, and for 5 weekends straight, I was participating in these competitions. I would do it though. It was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, some people do that.
Yes. You did not do that, did you?
I did.
Okay.
Actually.
See, I feel like
I did. I'm trying not to say too much because the next one is my section, but I also did that path.
My mom says this and she's going to die laughing when she hears this because she talks about, some people know what they want and they order that meal and they will always order that meal. She's like, you have always been a buffet person where you want to go and take a spoon out of like every container. Like, I just need to try it. So I think it's like that. I think there's no, harm. And if you decide not to do anything, I had friends who were like, I'm not doing extracurriculars. Smartest people I've seen. You don't have to. You don't have to.
You do not have to. Different decisions for different people.
Yes.
That's my best advice to law students.
Yeah.
Is don't do it just because other people are doing it or you're supposed to. Do it because it makes sense for you.
Absolutely.
Or don't do it because that makes sense for you.
Yes. I think that if there is any advice, and I felt this way sort of going into 1L, and I definitely stand by it stronger now, the best preparation for law school is to know yourself really, really well.
Yeah.
Because that makes a lot of the rest of the decisions you make in law school easy.
I agree.
If you know that you need to take notes, know that before you go in.
Yeah.
How you learn things. If you know that if you're not exercising every day, you're going to struggle with your mental health. Make sure that's know all of these things going in. Because I think that was helpful. I do know myself really well and I didn't. And I think maybe that's a benefit of the COVID. I didn't feel pressured by sort of what other people were doing. I was like, I know myself. I know this is how I have to do things and kind of did it that way. And it worked out.
It did. It worked out really well for you.
Look, I'm happy. And great job. Fun boss.
The best.
Yes.
Best employer of the year.
Honestly, though, look, who else truly, this is the real tea. There's not another attorney in the world who would put me in front of a mic. Unscripted? Are you kidding?
But see, it's called the Law Unscripted because of that, right? I thought it was a brilliant idea.
I think it's brave.
It's brave and brilliant because everyone loves you. You're so likable. You're so interesting. You're entertaining.
You're going to make me cry.
You're really good. So nobody else can have her this year.
I'm taken.
At least she is taken.
Yes.
For her job. So at least for a year.
Yeah.
Hopefully longer. We're going to try to
that's the plan. She's not getting rid of me. I just
So follow Chelsey.
Yes.
Follow Chelsey, truly. She's a great example of a real law student and one who's succeeding. So
look,
congrats.
the GPA, I will say this, and I'm telling on myself with this too. My GPA has only gone up every semester, which sounds really impressive.
It's amazing.
But what that means is that it had to be very low that first semester. And truly, it was. I was on academic probation and was like, I'm out, got to drop out. It's over. It's ruined. It was not. And come back, truly.
Yeah.
So I would encourage anybody, if you have questions, thoughts, I would drop it. We'll answer.
Please do. We will answer. We do love encouraging people. And especially other students.
Yeah.
And Chelsey, thank you for sharing such a very private piece of information.
Look, I'm an open book. And I think if I had known, if anybody else had been out there and been like, yeah, my first semester went really, really bad and it still worked out okay, it would have been nice to hear.
Yeah.
Because I was truly about to pack up my bags and go move across the country and change my name. Truly, I was this, my world was over. I was I can't exist. This is so bad. And then it wasn't. My world was not over. It was fine. As soon as I was in person, life was easy.
Yeah.
But I would just say that for anybody is it's not over. You can come back. Even if that first semester was rough, which let me assure you, it was.
You can't, you are a true success story and a comeback story of, the fact that you're in law school at all is a success.
Thank you.
But to even have come from a really difficult place of, seeing that it can go low, but you fought back and you went higher every single time.
Yeah.
You're graduating with an excellent GPA, with all of these amazing things under your belt, and you're just truly incredible.
Thank
so
you.
I'm glad to have you on my team.
Me too.
So if you like Chelsey, click the like button, follow, subscribe, enjoy what we're doing. stay tuned for the next one. Next week will be our last of season 1.
And we are going to hear all about Virginia's reflections on law school.
Yeah, so we're going to see how that goes. But that'll be our final one for the season. Follow us. We will come back again in the fall, like we said. But in the meantime, enjoy your week. We will see you next week. I'm Virginia Tarani.
And I'm Chelsey Rogers.
We're with Tarani Law LLC, because you never need a lawyer
till you do.